So what we're discussing today, business mindset lessons from Fourth Wing. This is really cool for me. It's also, we're going a little off the beaten path of what I typically talk about. But Fourth Wing is a trilogy of widely best-selling. They're going to make it into a movie or TV show. I have two of the books here with me. One has a bookmark in it because I'm going through it now. So I have always been a voracious reader since I was a kid. One of my favorite activities was when my mom took me to the library and I was able to check out books. And I still, if I make time for any other type of self-care, if I only have time for one, it's going to be reading. And I'm usually reading a couple of books at the same time. I'm always reading a fiction book because they're so fun to me. And then I'm trying to read a nonfiction book on the side, like one's more of the day, one's more at night, or just what I'm feeling. So I'm a huge reader. And also I really, really care about mental health. That has become an important thing in my own life personally, the past, let's say 5 to 10 years. I've realized the importance of mental health. When I was younger, everything just seemed to kind of roll off my back and I thought I was invincible and mental health didn't seem so important. But now as you know, I'm in my 40s, I'm a business owner. I have kids, a marriage. Shoot, we've been married 19 years, will be this year. So there's a lot of things that, can both feed that mental health and, can kind of pull from it. So I've realized how important it is to invest in my mental health. So we're going to marry those two things, a great fiction book and mental health. Today, we will be discussing, does mindset matter for Christian business owners? We're going to talk about creating our own mental shields and signs that your shields are slipping. Let's go.
Welcome to the Higher Purpose Marketing Strategy Podcast. If you're frustrated by marketing and want to stand out from your competition, this is the show for you. Every week, we're discussing how to build a plan that attracts your best customers and aligns with your values. I'm your host, Ashley Conway, follower of Jesus, CEO of Be Weird Marketing, marketing coach, and copywriter. I promise to defeat the ick, yuck, and struggle bus feelings you may have about marketing with a few good stories and proven advice. So let's have fun and get to work.
Okay, so does mindset matter for Christian CEOs? I think we can all agree across the board, whether you are a person of faith or you have no faith at all. Business is hard. There are ups and downs. We can feel discouraged sometimes. There are just so many things because as business owners, you don't know what's coming. One day very seldom ever looks like the next. It's not, you're not in a production world or you're not in a corporate world where everything is so structured. Anything and everything can happen. And you know what? It's our mindsets that determine how we respond to challenges, to questions, to situation. It's our mindset that determines what we're going to do. More than likely, no matter what, you're going to solve the problem that comes to you, but it's in how you solve it. That comes from your mindset. But there's also this thing of the secular world, the popular belief system that we're operating in. So a secular world prizes mindset techniques and you've heard of these: meditation, visualization, manifestation, because the goal is to create the outcome that we want. And I'm not saying all of those are bad or that they don't have a place, but let's look at what about mindset for Bible believers? Is it okay to do mindset work? Is that contradictory to the Bible? Let's take a look. So this, just to give you the idea, this show is going to have a lot of it more scripture this time. I'm not a Bible teacher, but I have access to the same tools that you do, and I'll explain those as we go through, that we can really look at the word and mine deep and see what does it have to say about mindset and thoughts and the importance of what we believe. So Romans 8:6, letting the Spirit control your mind is life and peace. So that tells me there's an option. We can let the Spirit control our minds, or we can just let our minds roll amok, go totally off the rails and think whatever we want. And just the fact that the Bible does say something about it tells us that it is important what we think. There is also Romans 12:2. I took a portion of that verse. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's a very common verse that a lot of us have heard, right? So there is a process of renewing your mind. The thoughts that you have, you're not stuck with. They can change. And in fact, some of the translations for that, points out God will renew our minds. It's not even something that we have to strive for ourselves. So James, this is where we're going to do a little bit more digging. James compares the tongue to a bit in a horse's mouth or the rudder of the ship. If you remember that particular passage, and the book of James is kind of like getting drowned by a fire hydrant. It's so much, but this is one of the things he talks about is the importance of the words we say, and that our tongue is so important. It kind of steers the direction of our life. So I connected that to Luke 6:45, for his mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. Because if you think about it, it's not really the tongue that is the bad guy. You can only speak the thoughts that have entered your head. So Luke is saying here, it's coming from your heart. The words you speak come from your heart. So I did, you can pull up blueletterbible.org. You can look at a particular verse and dig in to the Greek words that are, you can look at a Greek version and they will give you the Greek words and you can see what they really meant when they were written in Greek for the New Testament. So heart in Greek here is cardia, which means the soul or mind. It's the seat of like your affections, all of your thoughts, your desires, your passions. So Bible speak for heart is a lot of times wrapped up. It's like three things wrapped up in one: the soul, the mind, the heart. That's all the same thing. So if you connect those, if the heart means soul, mind, heart, then your mouth speaks from the overflow of your soul, your mind, and your heart. And what James was talking about is your life is steered by your heart and soul and mind. And that's why it's worth looking at these mindset things, because let me tell you, whatever is steering my life, I don't want to just let go and just let things happen and not really pay attention and just let it, free flow kind of thing. I don't want that. I also don't want to control. That's usually my default. I don't want to control, try to, through force or through, planting certain thoughts in my mind and being real forceful with it, because the Holy Spirit, letting the Spirit control your mind is life and peace, which means I don't have to strive. I don't have to work so hard at it. But I think it is something that requires our intention and our attention. So let's go through and start talking about, let me connect these for us, the mindset with this book that I was reading last week. So Fourth Wing, let me give you kind of the lowdown on what the Fourth Wing is about in a way that will not spoil it for you if you decide to read it. So I decided to read the Fourth Wing last year. I was late to the show because it is a fantasy story that involve dragons. And I thought, I'm just not a dragon person. Why would I want to read this? But it just kept getting so many great reviews. I look on Goodreads before I read something a lot of times. And it was just such good reviews. And I'm like, let me get this from the library and just give it a shot. If it's not my thing, then I haven't lost anything. Well, let me tell you, I was hooked. And these are chunky books, let me just tell you. But I went through them so fast. And so they've had the Fourth Wing is number 1, Iron Flame is number 2, and they just came out this year with Onyx Storm, and it was like the best-selling fiction book. I can't even remember what awards it won. So, extremely popular book. This is the premise. In this particular land that they live in, when a child reaches the age of 20, they still have to select kind of their career, let's say. They can become a healer, they can become a scribe, and a scribe is like somebody who take notes of the things that are happening in history. They take care of all the documents, the books, they're kind of preserving this place's story, so to speak. You can also be a writer is kind of the primary group that these books focus on. And they're called writers because they are the goal is for them to get selected by a dragon. They bond with these dragons, and they're extremely powerful, and they serve as kind of the highest level of fighters for the kingdom. Then the fourth category is infantry, and that's more like we think of infantry. So let me tell you about these writers. So Violet is the main character in these books. She was kind of raised to be a scribe, a studious person, but her mother kind of forces her down this writer path, which is very dangerous. There's a lot of training with fighting and challenges, and it's like a very rigorous program. But it becomes time. She goes through her training. It's the point where she can be chosen by dragons. They go out and they have some sort of a challenge, and the dragon chooses them. Well, she is chosen by 2 very rare dragons. And that's kind of the premise of all 3 books, is that it goes through different things happen with this kingdom, things happen with her dragons that she bonds with. Once a dragon bonds with you, you also have access to some magical abilities that they give you. So kind of a through line of this whole series, that's all I'm going to tell you about it so far, because I think this is enough to make the point for us. A through line in this story, all 3 books, is the importance of her mental shields. It's something she has to practice and keep raised, because in her mind, she can hear all of these voices. She can hear her dragons can talk to her, and she can talk to them mentally without having to speak. So she can hear 2 dragons' voices. She can also hear, because one of her dragons is mated to, she has a male dragon is mated to a female dragon. She can also hear that dragon's voice if at times. She can hear that dragon's rider's voice. So we're already talking about, 4 different voices that are coming in at her. That doesn't include her own voice that she's hearing. That doesn't include like external voices of the other writers around her, the professors that are teaching them how to be good writers. So this is a huge amount of external voices, and she has to learn and practice how to raise her mental shields so that she can keep out all of those voices. And it's a through line all the way through these books. There are certain characters who have a magic of like mind work, and they can amplify your emotions. So she has to learn how to block out, to raise her shields to block those people out and to calm her emotions. So there are so many ways that this comes in. As business owners, we also have a lot of voices coming at us. We have voices of fear, of comparison, of discouragement. And that's just the natural stuff from living in this world. That doesn't even include, lies that are being thrown at us from the enemy, which are very real and extremely strong, because his goal is to try to separate us from God somehow, even if it's in a small way, like you feel disconnected for the day, or you're just so wrapped up in the lies that he's planting in your mind that you can't even focus on what God is doing. So there are so many voices, just like for this character in the book. And when our shields are down, when we're not intentional about it, everything we go to do is going to feel harder. It's going to feel more discouraging, and we're going to feel those like personal attacks. And this, I know, the Bible talks about the armor of God in Ephesians 6:11, put on the full armor of God so you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. I have heard that a million times. But something about reading this story and seeing someone, go through this, magical kingdom, it's a fantastical story. Seeing somebody living that day in, day out, and seeing how important it was for her that she would forget. And a lot of times one of her dragons would remind her, like, shields up. She would forget and accidentally drop her shields, and then things start to go wrong for her, or she's in danger. So they remind her, shields up, shields up. So it was seeing this kind of played out in a way that I could imagine both what it's like for your shields to drop, and for you to be in danger, and what it's like to have to raise those shields up, what it takes. And for her, a lot of it was she went to a place in her mind that she felt safe, and she grounded herself in that. And she was able to imagine the doors of these other voices, like imagine them behind different doors, and she would close the door to block out all of those different voices. And it was so powerful for me to see it in this way that I knew this is something I wanted to bring to you all. So if we don't intentionally build our mental shields, we're going to be vulnerable to every thought that comes our way. And with the sheer number, which we know just from data is thousands and thousands of thoughts that come through our minds every day, especially if you're female, then you're leaving yourself wide open to so much going wrong. And I mean, it can be as extreme to your life being ruined if you are just letting these bad thoughts just have their way in your mind. So that's the concept of mental shields in the fourth wing. Let's play this out, this concept of mental shields out. So let's say that, I'm just going to take this for an example. Let's say that you have never thought about this mental shields, putting on your armor concept in a very practical way. And that's what we're going to do. What things, I'm going to give you some ideas of some things that you could do. I recommend it at the beginning of the day just to get your shields up and to strengthen them if you feel them start to go down. So you could consider Bible reading, worship, and prayer. You could slot in some quiet time when you literally are not, it's not, I've got to be on a call in 10 minutes kind of thing. You want some quiet, margin-filled time to talk to God and to listen to him. You can try to limit comparison triggers. And a lot of that it may be social media. It may be listening to certain things, hanging out with certain people. Just limit the things that trigger you. Setting business boundaries, like hours that you work. Obviously, the more that you work, the more worn down you are. I mean, if I'm working past 8:00 ever, what I'm creating is not going to be good, and my shields are going to be way down because you're just running on empty. The expectations can be helpful. And then a time on the flip side, focus time can also be helpful. The next one, having friends to encourage you and hold you accountable. It's so tempting to operate in our little silos and just get together or talk to business friends occasionally. But so many of us deal with imposter syndrome, or we're just unsure that we're going in the right direction with something. And we need regular time with friends that will encourage us and tell us to keep going, remind us to get our shields up, and to also hold us accountable. If we're saying something, if we're meditating on lies, that, they will hold us accountable and say, that is an absolute lie from the enemy. Do not think that anymore. We're going to pray against that right now, because that's not truth. That's the kind of friend that you want to be able to call on at any time, to send a text to, or a Voxer to, or anything that they will speak against the stuff that you're believing that's an absolute lie. And I know, when we're so busy, it can feel like I can't fit any of this in. So, and I totally get that. I'm a mom with young kids. I have a house to run. I have a business to run. There are a lot of things, the appointments and meetings and such. So I was just giving you an example of something that I have kind of settled on, my own personal routine, that I can realistically do, that it doesn't add pressure. It doesn't feel like something else I'm adding to the list. It just feels like something very life-giving that I want to do in the moments of my day. So in the morning, I spend 2 or 3 minutes only outside stretching, and I will, because I just want to get some sunlight, and I will either listen to the Pause app, which is something that John Eldridge and his Wild at Heart team created, or I will say, kind of this pause message out loud, which is basically, Jesus, I give you everyone and everything, because we have to make room, right, for him. So we release it all to him and surrender. And, we ask for him to restore our union the union between Jesus and me, I ask for him to restore that, because sometimes it's broken by sin or neglect or what have it. So I'm saying, restore our union and fill me with more of you. I want more of you in more of me. And I just pray that overflows. And so sometimes I will listen to John, walk me through that process. And he, quotes verses and different things. Or sometimes I just enjoy the silence and I do it for myself. So that's just, that's 3 to 5 minutes. And then I go into my normal get ready workout routine. While I'm getting ready, I have an Amazon device. I won't say her name because she will try to join this. I have an Amazon device in my bathroom. I will ask her to play, worship music while I'm getting ready, just to have, I'm not even if I'm not actively listening, just having it in the background. Like, we have Sirius XM. So I will have her play Savior Sunday radio, which is like a country Christian blend kind of station. And then throughout the day, I will make some time to do, I call it mind training. So I have this little document printed out with just some things that I want to remind myself. I know a lot of people call them affirmations. And affirmations, even if it's kind of a new agey concept, this is something that David practiced as he, encouraged his soul. Why are you so downcast within me? He's rallying himself around what he knows is the truth. Great Christian leaders, John Eldridge is one, Craig Rochelle is another. They use affirmations. So mine are more, they are biblically centered things that I'm training my mind to believe. I am enough because Christ is enough in me. That's my very first one. So I do that. I also do Bible reading throughout the day. Last year I did the Bible recap. So it's just a little bit every single day and you read the whole Bible. This year I'm doing some first 5 plans by Proverbs 31 Ministries. It's Lisa Turkhurst. It's a ministry that she runs. And I'm just going through some of the New Testament books. So it's just like, it's not anything that's taking a huge amount of time. That's like 5 minutes. The first 5 studies, those are 5 minutes. And then if I'm very lucky, and depending on the day, I will also do some prayer journaling, just because that is a good way for me to stay focused. I know prayer walks are very popular. If I try to do that, my brain is like, squirrel, to-do list, email I need to send, blah, blah, blah. But journaling keeps me focused. So those are just a few things. I think the main thing is start small, start early, and make it something that doesn't feel like a burden to do. You can always add on later. Even if you just start 2 to 3 minutes and you go listen to the pause app, that's something. That's something to build your shield at the beginning of the day. Okay, so let's look at, here are some signs that your shields are slipping. If you feel this like creeping in on you, oh, my shields are slipping. I need to stop and make some space and go do something about this. So if you're feeling reactive instead of grounded, like you're kind of losing your peace and you're feeling like things are just coming at you 100 miles an hour, and I'm just trying to, like, you almost feel fragmented. Like I can't fully be in all of these different situations at once. Like I'm starting to feel like I'm pulled apart into fragments. That's a good sign that your shields are slipping. If you're over consuming social media or business advice, whether it's podcasts or reading or whatever it is, that's a sign that, really your focus is just kind of going all over the place. I'm not sure what to do. I'm just going to try to get as much advice as I can. Or again, that's more fragmentation. If you're feeling anxious or paralyzed about making a decision or getting started on something, this one in particular happens to me a lot, that I will just for no reason start feeling nervous about something that I need to work on, and I want to avoid it by any means possible. If you're feeling spiritually disconnected, you're just feeling that union, that bond that we have as believers. If you just feel like that's not as strong, that you are feeling disconnected, that you're feeling alone, that's a good sign your shields are slipping. And if you're ruminating on thoughts that are lies, like intellectually this is not true, but you are just continuing to chew and chew and chew on it and you can't let it go, that is another sign your shields are slipping. So this is a perfect time to reach out to someone, to reach out to a friend, to, reach out to a therapist, to take a pause from your normal business operations and work on your shields, because anything you try to decide, decision-making, creative activities, any of that is going to be extremely difficult, and the output probably won't be as good if your mindset is not corrected. And also, the number one with all of these is take a break, go pray about it. And that is a lot of times the number one that I'll try. Sometimes I feel like I'm feeling so disconnected, I can't get past it. It's like I can't restore the connection in order for the prayer to really bring some relief and just some integration of my mind, where I was getting so fragmented. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. So, that's when I go to a friend, or sometimes it's just like, I'm tired, take a nap and restore my focus and get my thoughts back in order. All of those can work. So here's the recap. Your heart, mind, soul, this whole integrated thing, as the Bible calls it, is critically important, and it should be guarded like something that is valuable and that matters to you. Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So where are your shields slipping? It's important to make note when you feel this happening. Do you see any patterns? Like, I notice that I'm tired. I notice that I have done too much of this specific kind of work. I've had to make too many decisions, important decisions, in a short amount of time or with limited amount of data. Whatever it is, like, look for patterns when you start to feel this. And then here's your homework. What's one way you're going to start protecting your mindset and building your shield, putting your shields up in the morning before you get into your day? What's one thing you're going to do consistently? Make it small. As James Clear says, we want to make things so easy that it takes like no effort for us to follow through. So make it small. Just start with one. Now we have time for a listener question in the office hours segment. This one is from Peyton. She is a family nutritionist and mineral balancing practitioner, and she wants to know, is it better to do paid marketing on Instagram or Facebook? What about specifically for health stuff? Does it tend to do better on one platform or the other? Thanks for sending in your question, Peyton. This is what I'm going to say, and I recommend this for business owners across the board. Out of all the people on your email list or your followers, let's create like an insiders group. And this is going to be the people that you're going to say, I need a select few people who are interested in my particular thing, health and wellness, to be my people that helps me figure out what you want to hear, that, I want to hear your opinions. I want to make stuff that you want to receive. So I need a few of you. You're invited to join. This is a select invitation. I'm inviting a few of you into your insiders group. Then you have this small group of people, and I would ask them this question. Do they click on ads and buy something on Instagram or while they're on Facebook? Because it's not just what platform are you on or what platform do you spend the most time on. It's which do you click on ads and then buy something, or at least which do you click on ads to learn more? Are you doing that from Instagram mostly, or are you doing that from Facebook mostly? Because then you can at least get the clicks, and then you'll work on that sales page to make sure they actually convert. So that's my number one thing. Make sure you have your insiders group becomes like your own tiny focus group that you can ask these type of questions, and they will tell you where to be. And then you can focus on fine tuning the messaging for that paid ad, the graphics for the paid ad. And then once they get to that sales page, what that looks like and how it performs as well. But your first step, you're right, is to figure out which is the best place for you to be. And that's how I recommend doing it. You can also put up a poll on Instagram or Facebook and see what feedback you get. But I find an email group that has been invited to join and invited because their feedback is so valuable are more likely to reply. That's my tip for you. I hope that helps.
Thanks for listening to today's show. For all things podcast, including transcripts, extra resources, and a place to submit questions for the show, visit higherpurposemarketingstrategy.com. I'd also love for you to do me 2 quick favors. 1, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and 2, share this episode with your colleagues. And that's a wrap. Meet you back here next week.